You ever watch the game and you see a player and they've been warming up forever? They've got talent, but they just never check into the game. Well, this is the era where I finally step on the court. You think you know, but you have no idea. This is Late Bloomer Confessions, episode 16. It's game time. Now, let me explain where a lot of us get caught up in. We are on the sidelines, watching, waiting for what? This is not just me speaking outwardly. This is me speaking about myself. What is the sideline? Well, the sideline, metaphorically, is where potential goes to play it safe. It's not laziness. It's fear dressed up as preparation. For me, it was years of, as you know, I learned how to write. So I'm writing rhymes, head full of rhymes, head full of songs, head full of ideas. And even when I do have the opportunity to record, I would record songs, record music, get these ideas out of my head. However, there is no plan of action for after the music is created. So this is just, as you know, if you watch previous episodes, it's just a hobby. It's just it's fun. I'm just writing because it's really a passion of mine. I really enjoy doing it. So I continue to do it over and over and over. I'm hitting the gym. It's like going, to practice, and you're hitting the layup line and you're working on your drills. You know what I'm saying? I'm for fun, rapping for my homies. You know what I'm saying? If it's a cipher that kicks off and, we just kicking it, of course, I'm going to spit a few bars of stuff that I was just writing. But this is all essentially me sitting on the sideline, but never entering the game. I'm going to practice. I'm doing my workouts. I'm doing my warm-ups. I'm hitting the layup line before the game, but I'm never in it. I never get off the bench, get in the game. And this is where I was caught for so long. And this is where other people, I believe, if that's you probably can relate, were caught in this cycle for so long of sitting on the sideline. And the effect of that is me watching all of my peers, all of the people that are in my age group or near my age group, get out there and they're actually playing and they're actually winning, while I'm sitting on the bench watching, knowing that I have the potential, knowing that I have the talent to do the same exact thing that they're doing, but never getting off of the bench. And it's not always frustrating until you see somebody with less talent doing more than you. That is where it's not necessarily jealousy. It's just like you recognize, like, him, or if you're a female, her. Word? Y'all like that? I know, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, it's not necessarily anger or frustration. It's just realizing within yourself. It's not necessarily you're frustrated with anybody else. You're frustrated with yourself, the person in the mirror, because you haven't gotten off the sideline. What does this mean for late bloomers like you and I? What this means is we need to stop rehearsing life and start living life. What do I mean? You stop waiting for the coach to put you in and you sub yourself in. And by that, what I mean is, like in previous episodes, we sit and we wait for things to be perfect. We wait to be called on. We wait for a cosign. We wait for that magic phone call to where, hey, we want to sign you to $1 million record deal, which was never coming. You're sitting, and that is metaphorically waiting for somebody to sub you in. You're waiting for a coach to say, hey, let's go. And it's never coming. What do you have to do otherwise? You have to put yourself in the game. You have to suit up. You have to rip those warm-ups off. You have to stand up, and you have to tell the world, you have to tell your teammates, you got to tell your coach, you got to tell the announcing table, hey, I'm getting in. You walk on the court, you point to the guy you're subbing out, I got you. Now we're in the game. That's what you have to do. In today's world, you have to get off of the bench and sub yourself in. Stop waiting for the coach. This is no longer are we waiting for years and for decades. This is urgency without panic, because we don't have forever. So we have to act with a sense of urgency, but don't panic. We can still stay calm and execute. And this is the new code. There's a code that we need to follow now with this new game time era. It is consistency under pressure. What do I mean by that? I mean that when you get into the arena, this is when you find out what you're made of. How do you know if what you have is any good until you put it out? Of course, the close family and friends are going to tell you you're good because they're incentivized to tell you you're good. They are incentivized to support you no matter what you do. But when you put yourself out to the world, that's when a stranger can actually tell you how they feel, because they don't know you and they don't care. Now you are susceptible to criticism, exposure, risk, the risk of looking bad, the risk of being criticized if you're not as good as you thought you were, the risk of being exposed as a fraud. Oh, he's not really this or that. This is all what you're susceptible to when you get into the game. And you discover who you really are and what you're made of. That doesn't happen in practice. That happens during game time. So the code is consistency under pressure. We show up still, no matter what the world thinks of us. We continue to show up. And eventually, we turn into the person that we were meant to be. We release before a project is perfect. We build while we're still learning how to build. We treat our gifts like a responsibility and not a hobby. This is my real job. I work a 9-to-5, yes, but that's what I do to pay the bills. This is my responsibility to the Creator, to the rest of the world, to the universe. This is how I pay God back for giving me this gift. And this is why I named my most recent project Game Time, because this isn't just about music, man. This is the sound of me checking myself into the game. I would hear stories of, guys like, the superstars of the world the legendary like Kobe Bryant and Mike, they say, hey, coach, he's not waiting for coach to sub me in. He says, hey, coach, I'm about to get in. He's telling coach what he's about to do. And that's what you got to do in life. So I ask you, where are you still sitting on the sideline in your life, in your journey? What gift have you been warming up for and practicing forever? And what would it look like if you check yourself into the game this year? I want to leave you with a story. This is a parable of talents from the Bible. Matthew chapter 25, verse 14 through 30. There was a man, he had 3 servants. And he told his servants, he said, hey, I'm about to, take a trip. And I'll be back soon. But what I want to do is I want to leave you guys with talents. The first servant, he said, I'm going to give you 10 talents. The second servant, he said, I'm going to give you 2 talents. The third servant, he said, I'm going to give you 1 talent. I want you, each and every one of you, to do what you must to make the most out of these talents. And when I return, I'm going to check back in with you all. And then he left. The first servant, who had 10 talents, he went and he multiplied those 10 into 20. The second servant, he went and he took his 2 talents and multiplied it to 4. The third servant, he took his talent and he said, I don't want to risk it. I want to make sure I put this somewhere safe so I don't lose it. So he buried the talent in his backyard. Now, some time had passed. The master returned and he called for all of his servants, all 3 of his servants. And he asked them, what did you all do with the talents that I gave you? The first servant, the one that he gave the 10 talents, he said, hey, master, I took your 10, I multiplied it, doubled it into 20. Master said, that's what I'm talking about. Now, welcome into my home. You're set for life. So you, what did you do? Servant number 2. He said, master, I took these 2 talents and I multiplied them into 4. Master said, well done, good and faithful servant. Enter my home. You're set for life. You, final servant, what do you have? Well, master, I didn't want to risk anything. I played it safe and I preserved my talent and I dug a hole and I made sure nobody took this talent. This is the safest place that I could find for it. Here you are, master. Your talent, just as it was when you first gave it to me. The master looked at him. He said, you failed. This is not what I expected from you. Give me my talent back. Get out of here. I don't want to see you ever again. This is what we do not want to happen. We do not want to get to the end of our life and have done nothing but buried our talent and hid it from the world. Our gifts and our talents were given to us to multiply, not to bury them, not to hide them, but to give them to the world in order for them to multiply. Do not be the last servant in this parable. You owe yourself and you owe God way much more. If you enjoyed this content, I release a new episode every single week, every Friday, that is. Feel free to subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, drop a comment, let me know what you thought about this today. And if this resonated with you and you would like to continue the journey further with me, the journey of becoming a late bloomer, I have a project exclusively for you, only for my late bloomer tribe. Nobody else has access to this. This is not available to the public, and it probably never will be unless you tap in. This project is a story of another late bloomer who also showcases that it is never too late. As long as you are alive, it is never too late to pursue your dreams and use your gifts for a purpose. If this interests you, piques your curiosity at all, I have a link in the description. Hit the link, enter your information, and you will get instant access to this project. And with that being said, until we meet again, I bid you all farewell. God bless. I'm out.